Al, it's time to talk about a game with a franchise that we are very unfamiliar with, of course.
Yeah, we never talked about this before ever.
Never, ever.
Definitely not huge fans with lots of merch and listen to
Not
music all the time and
not experts about this franchise or anything.
no didn't write a book about it or
No,
anything.
no, of course not. Who would do that? That sounds silly.
Oh, Max drooled all over this blanket.
He got way too into making those biscuits.
He did.
He's like, this is warm. Blah.
Blah.
Anyways, hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where you have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc, Al, and Ladium.
Hello.
This is episode 362.
Oh, I should have said Giron when you said it was me.
You done goofed.
I did. I ruined it.
But yeah, we are talking about the latest Love Live game to hit the consoles.
Yeah, wild.
I mean, after the last game to hit consoles, it can't get any worse than that, right?
Well, this is a very different
Right?
genre,
It is a very different genre. You are right. We are, of
but
course,
like that last one was bad.
yeah, we are of course talking about YOHANE the Parhelion, Blaze in the Deep Blue,
Hmm.
a Metroidvania game based off of YOHANE the Parhelion, Sunshine in the Mirror, the spin-off series of Love Live Sunshine.
Hmm.
This game came out on November the 16th of this year of 2023 for the personal computers, the Nintendo Switches, the PlayStations, and the Xboxes.
Wow.
It's out on
I,
everything.
I got it on the Switch.
You did. Switch.
Switch. I was playing it in my bed.
I got it on the PlayStation. And I got the Platinum Trophy for it because it's very easy.
Nice. I assume it was basically do all the things.
beat the bosses, rescue everyone, get their item.
Oh, that's easy peasy.
Yeah, essentially that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's easy peasy.
It's pretty easy. Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah, this is like I said, a game based off of the YOHANE the Parhelion Sunshine in the Mirror anime. Um and of course, in order to talk about both of these things, we have to talk about the long-standing tradition of Love Live Sunshine, or I guess the Love Live franchise in general, and April Fool's jokes, which I know is a
Yep.
very weird thing to go to pivot to immediately, but bear with
This
us.
this game is very entrenched in April Fool's
This
jokes.
this will make sense. So,
There are layers of April Fools here.
yes. Um the Love Live series in particular has a penchant for doing kind of elaborate and fun April Fool's gags. They're not kind of like the traditional like, oh, we're doing something dumb and goofy. Whoa, this will never happen. Whoa, type deal that a lot of franchises tend to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there is a more often than not success rate that a April Fool's gag will turn into something that is real later on down the road.
Especially when it comes with Aqua.
Yes. Um, like in Sunshine in particular, they've done quite a few different things. Like they did the whole thing where they did a puppet show for April Fools one year.
Shazalia Kiss.
They did the Shazali Kiss Super Sentai based song that eventually became an actual release.
That
Um,
song rules.
yeah, so they do a bunch of like weird things like that and like just fun little goofy things. Um, and last year, the 2022 April Fool's gag was that they were going to. There was a small trailer like, "Hey, we're making an anime of the YOHANE the Parhelion manga that has been running in the Love Live Days magazine, which has been basically a fantasy spinoff of Love Live Sunshine, starring
Mm-hmm.
YOHANE."
Mm-hmm.
And fans had been kind of like, oh, this is interesting. It would be cool if we actually got to see kind of like a big full production of it. And then the April Fool's guy came out and I was like, that's a fun little thing. That'd be cool if that actually happened. And in June of that year, at the second day of their sixth Love Live tour at the Tokyo Dome, they showed off, hey, we're actually making this into an anime. And that came out this year. And it's already aired and everything, and you can go watch that if you want. You can listen to our thoughts and opinions on that on Jared and I Watch if you want to hear all that.
I remember that Again, like cried so hard at that announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, fair,
Very fair.
but I mean they all cry a lot. But
They
at
do.
that moment, it was
You don't get to officially become a Love Live member if you don't cry at
if
the
you
end
don't
of an
cry,
of a live show.
right, right.
So yeah, that happened. The anime is actually a thing and everything, and April Fool's gag success.
Hmm.
Fast forward to this year. This year's April Fool's gag was, hey, we're making a Metroidvania of YOHANE the Parhelion. And everyone's like, oh, this is really cool. This is really kind of elaborately made as well, like, for an April Fool's gag,
That's what I was thinking when I saw it. I was like,
pretty,
someone put a lot of effort into this.
Somebody put some work into this. And then on the same day that they announced the anime last year, they announced, oh, by the way, that gag, it's a real game and it's coming out this year.
Yeah.
And if you go back and look at like the April Fool's like trailer that they put out, it's like that's just the first level. It's basically kind of like an early prototype of the game and everything. And yeah, it's just the game.
Yeah, it's just the game.
You're like, oh, huh, all right.
Like the art is basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah. This was put out by Inti Creates. They are known for doing 2D based games and everything. So, they have the pedigree to make something like this and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said, it came out in November of this year, and we have played it, and now we're here to talk about it. So now you know
Played it and beat it.
The deep history and lore of this game and how it is rooted in April Fool's gags. And also, this is not the only time we're going to be talking about April Fool's gags in this episode, because we will circle back around to that when we get to the end of the game.
Yep, we will.
Which is a pretty funny thing. Yeah.
It's got layers here.
It's just like an onion.
Just like an onion, just like a Shrek.
Yes. So yeah, this takes place in the YOHANE the Parhelion universe. There isn't really a super deep connection in terms of like, oh, you need to watch the anime to this point to start playing the game or anything. It's mostly kind of like based around the time that like YOHANE has a good understanding and knowing of everyone in the series by this point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really known if like this should be like post the anime or what, but like
they're all friends.
Yeah, they're all friends at this point, so probably like post like halfway through the anime if you really wanted to be particular about that. Essentially, the gist of this game, very basic story, is that there is a dungeon that is formed out in the ocean, and everyone has been kidnapped and taken into this dungeon, and YOHANE herself can now traverse the dungeon and has to go save all the other gals in order to, free them and everything, and then eventually
with help from Lilaps.
With help from good dog Lilaps, and figure out exactly what's up with this weird dungeon that just showed up out of nowhere.
Yep.
It is a Metroidvania, as we said, so you're exploring a labyrinth of mazes and everything, and you get the map, you filling out the map and all that sort of stuff. You'll go back to various areas, to redo things when you have more abilities or people you've rescued, and you can use their special skills and everything. A lot of the skills themselves are really fun, and they feature little Easter eggs as well in terms of either something that's in the YOHANE the Parhelion series or something, that is related to the greater Love Live Sunshine series as a whole.
Like Ruby's second move having the little pouch that she has.
Yes, and so Ruby, obviously, her first ability is she brings out the cotton candy and uses that as a shield for you, and then when she does the other one, she very specifically yells out AAO.
AAO.
Which is obviously a reference to the memeable Cotton Candy AAO solo song she did.
Which, if you have not seen Cotton Candy AAO, you absolutely should stop for a second, watch that, then come back because it's brilliant.
It is a very good video, for sure.
So good.
Chica's whole thing is that she has a gun, and then when she gets her upgraded ability, she gets the gals from $1 Million with her as well, and they do a big old shooty shoot.
Yep.
Which is pretty good.
Her sisters.
Rico does a Rico beam.
Yep.
Which is very good.
It's very good.
There's a whole thing with Hanamaru where she is able to summon a laptop and then she presses the button and blows everything up, which is very funny.
That one's really good.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Uh,
Her like initial one, I was like, huh, that's weird. She just like spins.
she just rolls.
Yeah, which I mean, like, good for her, but the laptop one was really
hmm
funny.
Daya gets her Scarlet Delta suit at one point. She just rides across. It's
Nyarm.
pretty good. But yeah, there's a good chunk of just little fun Easter eggs scattered throughout. Um, Even when you have like your little chats with like the characters when you save them and you go back to the fortune telling shop, or I guess Yohane's house, you could say. There's some fun stuff there. Like they bring up the like Stu Shine and the Fallen Angels tears,
Which are then items that you can buy.
which is very good.
Hmm.
I enjoyed that. Um, yeah, definitely a lot of like little nuances and little teases, I guess you could say, to like, if you're a fan of the series, you're going to like instantly pick up on this. But if like
You'll get the nods,
if you're
yeah.
if you're not, like, it's not necessarily the biggest deal. Like you can kind of just like gloss past it and just be like, oh, that's weird. Anyways,
Weird that this girl just explodes a laptop. Okay, moving on.
normal things. That's what everyone does, of course.
I mean, it's normal when you're Hanamaru.
Yeah, that's the power of Zura.
Zira.
Gameplay wise, it is fairly basic. Like there isn't a whole lot of like wild things this game does. You're able to like craft weapons, which help you like boost your attack and everything. You're able
And
to
armor.
craft a weapon and armor and accessories. You're able to summon a ally to use an attack as well. So like, Lilaps is your default one because they are able to like, they don't cost your darkness points, which is kind of like your MP or SP, or like basically insert letter in P here.
Right. Except
Um,
for HP.
Except for HP, you're correct. And then the other girls have also like they have their own abilities that you can use, and you will use those abilities throughout the dungeon to like progress through obstacles, or you can use it to like do better damage if you want, and all that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
There's only like a couple abilities you learn. There's a double jump. You're able to like climb walls at one point,
Go underwater.
go underwater. The traditional kind of like Metroidvania-esque abilities that you would gain in one of these kinds of games. And essentially, I would say like this is a game that isn't necessarily going to like blow you away. It's not gonna like this isn't necessarily rewriting the book on the Metroidvania genre or anything. This isn't like this isn't Symphony of the Night 2 or something of that nature, where it's like doing something wildly new or something with the genre. And like it does the very basics. It doesn't do them bad or anything. It does them, it does them well.
Hmm.
But like if you were coming to this thinking like, oh man, I hope this is going to do something incredibly cool with this genre, it's not really going to.
Revolutionize.
It's not. Yeah, it's not here to do that. I mean, it does what it needs to do, and it does what it needs to do in a way that's perfectly fine. But
Mhm.
I don't think this is a game that's going to necessarily like blow you away if you're a fan of this genre in particular. You'll probably come away from it being like, hey, maybe I was a little bit overpowered throughout this game, but like at the end of the day, it's fine. The caveat of that is, of course, is that this is a $30 game,
Yeah.
which is the part where you look at it and go,
Hmm.
Especially considering this game's about like 6 to 8 hours at most.
Yeah, it didn't take very long to get through it.
It is not a long game. That is for sure. Like you don't go through the dungeon and there's an upside down version of the dungeon afterwards. It's like, no, you go through all the areas and then you beat the final boss and that's it.
That's it.
You're good. So the price point is disappointing.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking there. If this was just like, hey, this is a franchised title and we gotta put a premium price on this or what. But $30 for this is not a good price point for this,
No.
unless you're a sucker like me now.
Yeah. Well, we're big time suckers.
Hey.
And then of course I have the complaint about the saving. I feel like the saves are garbo.
Yeah, the saving system is essentially it is Metroidvania-esque, where like you'll go to a save room and it'll just automatically save for you, but you don't really have different save slots. You have save slots, but it's basically like you were picking to play a different game.
Right.
It's
So
just
like
it's
you,
just your
you
new
can't
game option
reload.
essentially. Yeah.
if something goes wrong. So I got to the point where I had to like just farm money a lot so that if something went wrong with a boss, I could buy my way out of the problem.
Which luckily we were able to find you a good grind spot, so we were
Yeah, and I
able
found
to
a few.
alleviate that problem fairly quickly, at least.
Well, I mean, other than the fact that I had to grind for money
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah. But
a
you just did
while,
that
but
while I played Yakuza, so
yeah. I just sat there with the controller, like I had it basically on autopilot the whole time of like,
hmm
I know I go to the left, I hit attack, I go back to the right. I wait till it makes the sound, then I go back to the left. Um, so yeah, I was able to like alleviate the issue, but I still think it's irritating that you can't just like load a save.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like you lose everything, including like the special like you died and you have a music score attack that'll save you type thing.
I guess Al specifically is mentioning that like if you die during a boss, it doesn't reset you back to the save point. It basically loops you back to Yohane's house, and you've lost all the items you have used throughout that boss fight, and you can't like reload back to the save before you had fought that boss.
Which I think is a bad system.
Yeah.
Caused me any problems. But yeah, like the music scores, it sucked whenever I would lose those. It's like, ah, there's so few of these.
Which the music
It's based
scores, they give you kind of like invulnerability, and they up your attack and
hmm
let you use DP attacks infinitely
And
for a
you get
time
to
being.
listen to bomb music.
Yeah, you get to listen to the original song for this game. It's
Yeah.
called Deep Blue. I know that's
What?
surprising,
Who could have expected that it would be called that?
but yeah, that song's fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I also enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah.
I was still mad whenever I lost the ability to have it.
Mm-hmm.
Rip.
Ripperoni and pepperoni.
Yeah, so that was not good.
Yeah. Um.
Um, but I did learn from watching the gals play that the answer to, wow, I'm having a hard time with this boss is pay more money.
Yes. Let Rikiko show you that just if you're in trouble, pay your way through the problems.
That's how I got through some of the bosses, like that one ice boss.
mm-hmm.
The only way I got through that dumb little butt was through having like a ice protecting gear and then just buying my way out of the problem. Because he had so much health.
It's a very long fight.
It was a very long fight.
Very rude.
Blech.
Uh, I do like the look of this game. I think like the sprite work is very good for like all the gals and everything. Like Yohane has a lot of fun animations
hmm
throughout. The enemy design is real funky and interesting because it's all like aquatic looking things.
hmm
A lot of ocean bugs, and then some like here's just random sushi as enemies.
I the sushi was confusing. I was like, do I kill these and I get something for it? Or like what happens here?
The answer is yes.
Yes.
And I like the boss design as well. All the
It's an
bosses
anglerfish.
were pretty unique and fit the mold of like here's a big Metroidvania style boss.
hmm
They got to fight and they're all have their own different abilities and all that fun stuff. So that was good. The areas themselves are all pretty unique as well. They all have kind of like their own separate uh biospheres, I guess you could say.
A good way to put it.
There's
I have them all pulled up if you want me
yeah.
to.
There's the desert area.
It's called the ruins,
There's the fire area.
the sunken volcano,
There is the like I don't know the green area.
the grotto.
Yeah, there's the ice area.
Ice area is crystalline grotto,
There is the ship.
shipwreck.
There you see, I was close there. There's the purple area right before the final boss.
That is called the infernal altar,
Is there another one I'm missing?
coral hill,
Okay, yeah.
and
Uh,
then the other green area, which is sea of trees.
so yeah, all different areas. They all have their own enemies or like palette swapped enemies. They each area you will progressively find like harder enemies and all that sort of stuff. You if you play these games, you understand all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Blah
And
blah
then
blah.
eventually you unlock the Aqua Memoria.
Yes, which I was like, ooh, hello.
Whoa. Hello.
I know that word.
I do know that
Memoria.
word. I know Memoria and I also know Aqua.
That's a G Friend song.
Yep. You're right. You're right.
I am right, of course. But yeah, you fight all the bosses, you rescue all your friends, you go get their secret items, you upgrade their abilities and everything, and then there's this big door at the very beginning of the game that you get to go through after you've defeated all the bosses, and it leads you to a penultimate boss that you got to fight. Which is interesting because like it's the one boss in the game that really kind of takes advantage of like, hey, you got to use the gal's abilities here to really make an impact in this fight. So like the boss will change colors and you have to basically match that color to one of these specific gals and use their ability, and it'll do like more damage to the boss, and then that's how you kind of whittle it down in order to defeat it. And then like you said, you get to the Aqua Memoria, and you get to go through a kind of boss rush. A boss walker, you might want to say.
Yeah, boss walk is a good way to put it because you have to fight all the bosses again, but you're a lot more powered up this time, and also
you can just go save after every fight.
You can just go save after every fight and heal after every fight.
Pretty nice.
That's pretty legit. I prefer that over the traditional boss rush. If you're gonna make me do a boss rush, let me do a boss walk, please.
Just pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I was like, because I saw it, I was like, oh, this boss rush, oh no. And then it was like, after the first one, I was like, can I just go back and save? And then I just walked back, I was like, oh, I can just go back and save every time. This is nice.
So good.
So yeah, you fight all the bosses, and then like there's a door again, kind of similar to the one that you went through earlier. It's like, do you want to redo all the boss fights? They're like, no.
Nope.
No, not really.
Nope.
And then you find yourself at the final boss of the game.
Mm-hmm. This is really good.
This is a really good goof. So again, let's circle back around to Love Live Sunshine April Fool's gags.
Fools. Yep.
And we mentioned that they had done a puppet show parody before of the series, where they did a little story of the series and all the gals were puppets, and it was like a big puppet show and everything. And
sometimes they have pig noses.
Yeah, and the whole gag of that is that it eventually turns into Coelacanth Sunshine, and there's just Coelacanth just roaming around with the gals.
Yep.
It's really funny. And then the final boss of this game is a Coelacanth with a hand in it.
It's pretty good.
I was like, wow, that's really good.
It's pretty good. It's really funny.
Oh, that made me laugh a lot.
I mean, this Coelacanth has been like a thing with Sunshine. Like there are several like cards in School Idol Festival, which, we wouldn't be able to show you or anything because School Idol Festival is dead. But like I remember specifically there's one with like Ruby holding like a stuffed one.
I think that's like it's
a big deal at the aquarium.
It's the aquarium
in Numazu.
Yes, and I think that she has like an aquarium outfit card with the Coelacanth as well.
Yep.
But yeah, that's been involved in a lot of like the cards like you mentioned as well. And seeing it show up as the final boss, I was like, that's real good. That's a real good goof.
But specifically having the hand in it is what makes it so funny.
Yes. So you fight that, and then you learn about the secrets of the dungeon.
Whoa.
Where
I just want people to remember them.
You learn that like, oh, this ancient race of people from Numazu just wanted people to remember them, and they want to hear the gals sing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to hear Deep Blue during the credits and see the gals doing funny things with their pixelated forms and everything.
With their sprites.
The sprites. Can I give you my
so
fun theory about this ending?
Yeah.
So obviously, we've talked about this on Jared and I Watch and everything, and if you don't know, YOHANE the Parhelion, spin-off of Love Live Sunshine. These universes are not connected.
Correct.
This is basically kind of like an anthology type show where the characters are the same, but they are in a different kind of story, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And they have differences with their characters within this story in particular. The way they specifically mention how, like, this is an ancient group of Numazu who don't want to be forgotten, which is a key crux of Love Live Sunshine.
Right.
Season 2.
Yep.
Where the whole thing about winning Love Live is that, hey, we are going to win so that the school is not forgotten.
Correct. And also we have a final boss area called Aqua Memoria.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, what if this is a subtle reference to that as a way to kind of like connect them and also kind of be like a wink nod type deal? If you know, you know.
If you know, you know, yeah.
That's what I was kind of thinking when they were like explaining it near the end.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's a theme.
Specifically, like the wording makes it kind of like feel like it could go in that way. Like, like why would they specifically say, "Hey, we don't want to be forgotten"?
Right.
And then also this coming out of an area called Aqua Memoria.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good indicator there.
Why else would they want the girls from Aqua to sing?
Why would they want them to sing?
Yeah. So yeah, that was my theory about the end of this game.
I believe it.
And of course, this has the Tokyo Mirage Session style ending where you just sing and everything's fine at the end.
Sometimes you just gotta have that kind of ending.
Sometimes you just gotta sing the Fire Emblem theme and then everything's fine, hunky dory.
Except for the one guy who actually sings but doesn't get to sing in the Fire Emblem song, which is a very big bummer. But, sometimes you just got to do it and it works and everybody's fine at the end.
It's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is YOHANE the Parhelion Blaze in the Deep Blue, the first YOHANE Parhelion game that's come out.
Yep.
We will, I guess, reconvene in February?
Oh my god. Is it also February?
Yeah, February is
stacked.
It's just a messed up month.
Yeah, no.
This is what happens when we get a leap year.
Yeah.
My
Valentine's Day date is just gonna be like 10,000 games.
3 JRPGs and YOHANE.
Ugh.
Yeah, YOHANE the Parhelion Numazu in the Mirage, which is a deck builder card game based around
AKA,
YOHANE the Parhelion.
I'm gonna help you pay for it, and I'm gonna watch you play it.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Because I don't like card deck building games at all.
Sounds good to me.
Cannot do that gameplay.
That is coming out February 22nd of next year.
Oh, I thought you knew that. Is this a new information for you that's how it's gonna work?
Yeah, this is new information for how this is gonna work. I don't think we had talked about this.
Oh, oops. Well, hopefully you're okay with it.
No, I'm fine with it. It's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's coming out to PS5, Switch, and PC. At least in Japan, it might have an Xbox release over here. I don't know in particular. I would have to see a English trailer for that, but I can't find it off the top here. But yeah, that is coming out, like I said, in February. Deck builder. It is a 3D game. Because we've seen gameplay of it through various Love Live streams of the gals playing it here and there, where you like make your way through like a flow chart essentially until you fight a final boss, and you fight them, and you have to have the heart of the cards to win, and you have all these
sounds about right.
Fun little cards that have good little fun artwork from the series or just new original artwork, and you can summon the other gals to help you out in order to fight, and there's fun little costumes that you can put on YOHANE and everyone else. So it seems like it'll be fun.
Yay.
Like a fun little game. Hopefully it is not too expensive. I'm betting it's probably going to be the same price, which is going to be a bummer.
Well, hopefully it's easier to swallow if it's 15 each.
Hopefully that's the case. But yeah, we will talk about that at some point next year.
At some point.
Probably not in February, because there's too many other bigger games coming out in February that will probably take our attention, unfortunately.
You're right.
So we'll talk about that at some point next year. But yeah, that is also
At
coming
some
out, which is, again, surprising. Like, hey, I would not expected
two games based off this?
games, yeah, based off of this series, let alone
I wonder
one.
Do you think we'll get a new song for that one too?
Probably.
Yeah, because this one was so good.
They will not.
Is it on?
I don't think it's been released yet. They will not take the opportunity to not
No, you're right. You're right.
put
you're
out
right.
more merchandise for this series if they can. So there's that. But yeah, that is YOHANE the Parhelion, Blaze in the Deep Blue. It's a fun game, specifically if you're a Love Live Sunshine fan. If you're a Metroidvania fan, you will probably be like, this is a fine game. Doesn't do anything completely new, but it's perfectly competent in what it does. Buy it on sale if you're wishy-washy on it, because $30 is probably way too much for this game, considering it's like 6 to 8 hours, and it doesn't really do a whole lot new in the genre. So
This is also our chance to say, hey, you should watch Love Live Sunshine because that was a really, really good anime.
it's true.
And probably like at least top 5 for both of us.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, go watch Sunshine.
Yeah.
Go appreciate those gals.
Yeah.
And then you can know who you're playing with YOHANE.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, I know these girls, but like not exactly these girls. I know versions of these girls.
That is true.
Oh, they're all good girls.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could also just watch the YOHANE anime because it's good too.
You could. So yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. So if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared and Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can follow us on Blue Sky at seasonalanimecheckup.com. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love Life Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early, and a whole wealth of bonus content as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, it's our final regular non-year-end episode.
Oh, wow.
So, in order to celebrate, we're going to talk about an anime that surprised us recently.
Yay.
We'll talk about that Scott Pilgrim show.
Yes.
And how we both basically went into it with negative expectations.
No joke. The expectations were underground.
So we'll chat about that next week.